Hey, what up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Alright, in this video, I want to talk about my personal experience, alright? Before I even get into this video, I just want to give that disclaimer. This is my personal experience here that I'm speaking of. I'm not trying to say that this is the typical experience or the standard experience, alright? Just me talking about my personal experience with Afro-Latinos. And I, kind of been thinking about it just because, as of lately, kind of like Afro Latinos have been sort of in the spotlight, at least within our community, um, you know, largely because of Amara La Negra, right? But also some other issues and other things as well. Not issues, but other factors as well. All right, so primarily I've encountered Afro Latinos on the job. I think I may have had a friend from childhood who may have been Afro Latino, but they never spoke about it. But I don't know, so I can't really talk about that. But yeah, I've mainly encountered Afro Latinos on the job. So like my first Afro Latino, that's kind of weird putting it like that. Like I'm like encountering like a wild animal in the jungle, right? But like my first Afro Latino encounter, right, was a female. Like when I saw her on first glance, I thought that she was just, black slash African American, right? As is with, well, I'll get into that later. But basically, all the Afro Latinos I've encountered, I pretty much have just coded them as black in my mind, right? When I first saw them, right? Not saying that they don't claim black, yada yada yada. I'm just saying. So yeah, my first experience that I can think of that comes to mind is black female, a coworker of mine's, um, and I believe her mom was black and her dad was from Honduras. I don't know how her father looked, so I can't say. Um, I did see her mother in person before, and her mother has pretty much the same skin tone as she does, which is like like a brown skin tone, no, brown, dark kind of skin tone, chocolate, if you will, right? So we kind of had a conversation about this at one point or another, because also her last name is Castillo, which is a fairly common Spanish surname, right? So we had a conversation about it, and it came up in conversation. And I had asked her, how does she kind of like identify herself? Did she consider herself like an Afro-Latina? And she says she just considers herself more so black, just because she just feels like people don't really consider her, because of the way she looks, her phenotype, as a Latina, right? That was her personal experience. And I think when it comes to Afro Latinos, that's kind of like the ones that I've encountered personally, that's kind of more low key have been part of their experience. The ones I've encountered just tend to claim the black identity, right? Um, then the other Afro Latinos I've encountered at another job that I worked at, let's see. The next job that I'll talk about, this guy, he was, black and, part black, part Cuban, right? I never seen his parents, so I can't say, go into like the looks and all that sort of a thing. But I noticed, like when I first saw him, I thought he was just, quote unquote, just black slash African American, right? Although I did notice something with his hair texture though, because he's like, has like a dark skin tone, right? Um, but I did notice with his hair texture, it was a little different than I'm used to seeing dark skinned black people with, right? like we had like a brief conversation about that, but basically his hair texture is more so a little different. I guess probably similar to my hair texture, really. Um, but yeah, he said that he, you know, was part Cuban. This wound up coming up in conversation or something like that. But I think that he tends to claim a black identity. I think he is pretty much aware of his blackness because, based on the experiences that he's had in his life, they seem to center around blackness because of the way that he looks versus Latino ness, right? As well as talking about, some of the experiences that he's had being black, especially being black where he grew up. I believe he grew up in North Carolina, right? And as well, he doesn't have like a Spanish surname. His surname is pretty much Anglo. Um, Last name Steele. I guess that's pretty much Anglo. First name may be considered French origin, right? Jovan. I think that would be considered French origin, maybe. So, long story short, based on his conversations, he seems to be very aware of his blackness, right? And also, we also had another conversation about him. Like, he was in a situation where, like, oh, like this, like, Latina was talking, and she kept saying, like, or she wound up saying, like, nigga, like, as if she's black, right? And then he had asked her where she's from, and then she had said, like, either, Puerto Rico or Cuba or, like, the Dominican Republic, one of those three. And then he says, like, so you from um, one of those wetback islands. And then she's, like, acting all offended, like he done said something that's out of line or offensive, but again, she can say nigga, 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 right? And it's all cool and good in the hood, though, right? All right, next on the list, all right, and at this particular job, there were a few actually. I think about maybe three Afro-Latinos, right? Um, and one of the dudes, I don't think any of these dudes had like Spanish surnames. But one dude, I don't know his specific mix because he never mentioned it. I think he may refer to himself as Moreno. I shouldn't have rolled the R there, but Moreno. Um, Another dude was part black, part Dominican, right? His mother was Dominican, or is Dominican. Another guy, his mom, his dad's black and his mom's Panamanian. I don't know how the parents look, so I can't say, okay, this person's this person's that, but just what I'm saying, because sometimes when we hear like, oh, Dominican or Puerto Rican or Panamanian, we get like a certain image in our mind of what the people from those countries look like. And those people could look, quote unquote exotic, or they can look, just, like monoracial black people just from Panama or just from Cuba or wherever, right? Mhm. But like they, from my conversations that I had with them, they seem to claim black identities. Honestly, like based on the way that they be talking, they talking like their experiences and their mentality seems to be focused more so on blackness, right? Um, so I think in my personal experience, I never really I've encountered Afro Latinos, but many times they just seem to just claim like a black identity, right? They didn't like deny that part of their lineage or heritage, but they seem to like, because of the personal experiences that they've had within society, they seem to probably feel like, okay, I should just go as black because I'm seen as black, right? And I'll also give an honorable mention to a classmate of mine. I never really had a conversation with her or spoke with her, but she was from, let's see, she was I encountered her in like a Spanish class. It was a Spanish class for like Latino American literature, um, and like an upper level Spanish class in college, right? And she gave a presentation. In the presentation, well, before I get into that, I'll say that she's from Panama. She looks black, you know, phenotypically black. Like if you didn't know any better, you would just say that, okay, she's just a regular black African American woman, right? But I think she lived in Miami at one point or another. But in a presentation, she wound up talking and mentioning something like, you know, oh, you know, people say are there is talk of like Cuban people being racist in Miami, although like she personally has never experienced that within her interaction with them. But I'm perhaps acknowledging that, you know, it does happen, but just maybe in her personal experience, she's just never experienced it. Yeah. So overall, I think for me, all the Afro Latinos I've encountered were, you know, actually probably blacker than me if you were to do like a DNA test, you know, and to go based purely on phenotype, right? And as well, they pretty much seem to claim a black identity, honestly. Uh, you know, I know this video may seem a little random, but ultimately it's just, I guess, to put out there that, you know, not all Afro-Latinos, you know, deny their Afro-Latino, whether African heritage, you know, their African lineage and that sort of a thing, right? And I'll say that the relationships that they were in as far as when I knew them, like I know the Afro-Latina that I worked with, she married a black man who's more or less the same skin tone as her. I think they have pretty much the same skin tone. Even though she was talking like she was gonna be a swirler, but I guess that never happened. I guess she wound up just staying in the community. And he's like African American. Then another coworker who's part Cuban and black. Last time I checked, his girlfriend was black, African American. Um, the dude from the other dudes from my other job, like one dude was, I never seen his girlfriend or never heard him talk about his girlfriend too much, so I can't say. Um, so I can't say about the other dude. And then one of the dudes who's part Dominican, he had, I believe, yeah, his boyfriend is black. He's gay, so his boyfriend was black, right? Um, so yeah, it seemed like blackness. They seem to perpetuate blackness in their relationships as well, you know. So yeah, I guess I'll bring this video to a close. So I just want to give my little 2 cents about this and share my personal experience with Afro Latinos thus far in my life. All right. Let me know what you think. Feel free to comment. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.